Minding Your Business, the show for entrepreneurs. I'm your host, June Middleton. One of the things that I love about entrepreneurs is that I find that everybody starts their business for a different and sometimes a very unique reason. Our entrepreneurial guests this evening, principals of Maylan skincare products, started their business for a really unique and different reason. Necessity and a husband's love for his wife and concern for her skin. I am happy to have as my guests this evening the Chan family. Dr. Henry Chan, Winnie Chan, Allan Chan, and Brian Chan. Welcome to you all. It's just such a delight to have you here and to have you here to talk about this incredible business that you have. Winnie, I would love to start with you. Please, give us some idea of, you have a very interesting background. You grew up in Hong Kong. Yes, but you've been here in the States where you lived in New York City for a long time.
Yes.
And then you moved to Chicago. But you were on Wall Street as a commercial real estate broker, and you did fashion design, and which I want to get back to that a little bit because I don't know how it ties in with your skincare products. And you're an entrepreneur, a wife of Dr. Henry Chan, and mother of these two outstanding young men that I'm also looking forward to talking to. So please tell us, how did Maylan, and am I saying the name correctly, Maylan Skincare get started? It means natural beauty?
Yes, Maylan Skincare.
Maylan,
in the
please.
Chinese, May, that means beauty. Lan, that's natural.
Oh,
so
that's terrific.
yeah, that's the name where they started, yes.
So tell us, how did it come about? I mean, this was, as I said, it was out of necessity, and you had a concern about your skin and how nice it is to be able to just turn to your husband and say, make it work. Fix my face. Make something for me that's going to just continue to let me look lovely and beautiful. How lucky is that?
Actually, it didn't start that way, you know,
okay.
because I was in my late 40s and start to see, the pocket develop, under the eye and all these things. So that time, Estee Lauder, they have the new eye cream came out. So I figure I needed to take care of myself, so I bought the eye cream, and I also bought the Clinique because I had a sensitive skin. So
you spent a bloody fortune.
Yes,
buying
because
these products.
yes, at that time I figure it's good, because he worked for Dell Laboratories, so it's very close to Estee Lauder, so I have opportunity to buy this for a discount. But anyway, it didn't work. So Henry always brought about.
Were you breaking out with some of these products and getting rashes
even though Clinique, that time for sensitive skin. So he always brought about his pharmaceutical people are more experienced and technology is higher. So I said, okay, now he told me Shiseido do a lot of research. So I said to him, make me something better than Shiseido. Just a conversation, casual conversation like that. So, and then he just came back, with some, those homemade jar, and then for me to.
What, did you just walk out and go into the kitchen or something?
I don't know.
How long did it take?
I don't know. I think maybe for a while. After I said it, I even didn't think serious. So he just came back and then with that. So every time when he make a batch, and I use it, and I went to the gym, and then the woman always curious what I'm using with those kind of homemade jar, So I told them, and then they try, and when he make a batch, I would give them a little bit. So they
nice
share. So they think it's no good to always get for free. So they encourage me to make more to sell. So that's where they started.
Oh my gosh! Well, I know that your part of your website talks about taking the Eastern philosophy and mixing it with Western technology to develop your products. What does that mean? How does that? I mean, are you using herbs or some kinds of spices or something like that from that are Eastern in type, like green teas or something like that for the products?
I think that's his department.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Welcome to the show. I'm so glad
Thank
that you joined us.
Okay, thank you for inviting us.
Yes.
Yeah, the Eastern philosophy it is for us when we want to well, we are not looking for something put on your skin or anything want to see immediate result. We are looking for a little long-term, slower benefit, and we want to build it up from within. Your strength build up from within. That is what the Eastern philosophy is. The Western technology is because after all, the Western technology have much better. They know how to combine the product together to make it more elegant, to make it more appealing to consumer. So we are kind of like a married thing, these two philosophy together.
But you use things like kelp in your development of your product, combining it with special kinds of teas and other things like that. Now, I mean, is that very definitely that's the Eastern philosophy?
Yes, yeah, because Eastern philosophy also interests in something natural.
Yes. Yeah,
so the cow, the tea, or honey, or those ingredients are key ingredients in our formulations.
I heard something, or I read something about your honey-based product that someone said that it was good enough to drink.
Oh, that is my friend. So before Allan, when he was in high school, so we start to have this reading. Our English is not that good. So my friend is a school teacher. So I have her, go through the see if we have any mistake there. So her husband is a chemist. So he he looked at the ingredients and said those ingredients good enough to drink. So.
Well, that says a lot for the naturalness, too, of your product, which is really great. And which was your first product? Was it the skin cream?
Yes. It's a daily moisturized cream was the first one.
That's
the daily one.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to get to that because I'd like maybe you can demonstrate on me.
Yes.
Terrific. Now, how long have you been using the product? I mean, your skin is beautiful.
Thank you. I've been using it for almost 20 years.
My gosh.
I do not do any facial or any spa or any of those things. Just use the product. Very simple. Yes.
Oh, that is wonderful. That is wonderful. And as I said, how fortunate and lucky that you could just turn to someone who's right next to you or having dinner with you and saying, make me a product to keep my skin beautiful. This is wonderful, wonderful. And you've had 20 or 30 years of experience in the pharmaceutical.
Yes. At the time when Winnie asked me to develop her own formulation or her own product, at that time I've been working in the industry, as I say, about 20-some years. Yeah. But now, and after this a few more years passed by, I accumulated a little more experience.
Now, did you, while you were in school, did you study, what was it, phyto?
Right, yeah. My master's degree was in phytochemistry, because at that time, I believe eventually someone will look into the plant as the source or try to get the medicinal benefit from the plants. But probably at that time, it was not easy to find a job with that kind of a specialty.
You're talking about today?
No, in those days. Yeah.
Why how things have not changed.
Yeah. So and then I refocused and I focused into pharmaceuticals and cosmetic science. So because that is basically to teach you more practical hand-on how to make a product. Yeah.
Now, you were the developer of Oragel?
Yes.
That's just really outstanding.
Yeah, that was quite a long time ago.
That is so impressive.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Well, I can see how you were able to just, decide
Yeah.
I can make a product that's going to work and that Winnie will be happy with, which obviously you are. Now, your sons, who are both here with us also, are involved in the business. And how long have your sons been involved in the business?
Few years ago, because Allan's always with us, when we needed to write a letter, correct our English, all these things. So he's been helping since he was in high school. So, yeah, so he's been helping us, a lot of, document we needed, instead of hire outside people. So he's always helping, since he was in high school. So a few years ago, he and Brian talked about, they were thinking to have his friend was saying they wish they have a product. So they both think we had a product, so why don't we just, take this on? So that's how they heavily get involved.
Ready-made employees, a lawyer,
yes,
and a business student. And, well, you're no longer a student, but having a business degree. This is wonderful. Well, I'd like to, Allan, let's talk to you some. First of all, thanks to Rita Lynn, shout out to her, for introducing us, and through Ed, my son. And are you also a softball player?
Maybe before, yeah, I used to play baseball, but I've had some injuries. I'm getting older, so.
Oh my God!
I actually know.
Do you hear this? They're telling us. He's telling us he's getting older.
I'm more of a volleyball player with Rita, actually.
Oh gosh, what are you going to say when you get? You're not even out of your 30s. Oh. Okay, so then how long have you been active? Well, you were active with the company from high school. What were you doing at that time?
Yeah, I mean, it's a family, so, my parents always asked us to help out with whatever we could. Obviously being born in this country, our English just comes a lot more natural, so it was easy for us to correct things and try to help them with their writing. And I always knew what was going on. They'd always had this dream, but, I don't think I really got involved with the business until graduating school, finishing my education, and actually working for a while, because up to that point it was always just my parents' little hobby on the side, and I didn't really know too much about business.
Hobby. Now, you majored in biology in undergrad?
I did, yes.
Where did you go to school?
I went to Binghamton, SUNY.
Oh, you and your brother both went to Binghamton, didn't you?
Yes,
We had 1 year of overlap.
Now, what made you decide to study major in biology? Did you have the family business in mind when you did that?
No. I mean, more the typical story of being an Asian family, immigrant family. Had dreams of becoming a doctor, and that's sort of one of the natural majors to have, being a pre-med, and I actually, went through my career, and I actually finished all my pre-med requirements, but it got to the end and I said, you know what, this is not for me.
Well, you have a Juris Doctor degree. I mean, do you know that you can be addressed as doctor?
I didn't know that, actually.
Yes, because your degree in law is, we're Juris Doctor degree holders.
Sure.
You could be Dr. Chan. So now you know.
Right.
But you went from biology to the law.
Yeah.
How did you make that transition?
It was, I had struggled a lot, and with my parents, it was a big struggle for me to decide that medicine wasn't where I was going to go. I pursued some other interests, such as physical therapy and such, but it was actually my staff worker. I was involved with a group called InterVarsity Christian Fellowship in college, and my staff worker, sort of a mentor, suggested, hey, have you thought about law school? And I said, no, I don't want to read for the rest of my life. And she said, I really think you should look into it. And she brought some alumni back. She was actually retiring, and ended up spending about 4 hours speaking to some alumni that were in law school and graduates. And through that conversation, I said, you know what, this sounds like something
You can do this.
Yeah, I want to do that. It was like they kind of told me, it's sort of like having a backstage pass to life. There's really no aspect of our society that doesn't touch on the law.
That's a very interesting way to put it, because you're absolutely correct.
Yep.
Absolutely. I mean, my mother was a surgical nurse, and she wanted me to go ahead to become a doctor, and she took me with her to the emergency room of the hospital a couple of times while she was working, and I went in and I saw one person there with part of their a limb not really fully the way it should be, and I said, I'm going to wait for you outside in the car for your whole 8 hours. And then I decided to go to law school. So now you're the chief operating officer of the business.
Right.
And what does that involve?
Well, I mean, it's just a lot of process stuff. I think in the beginning, you know, I was heavily involved with the packaging, you know, and making some of the decisions. And, you know, I work for an organization now that, you know, we're much in sales. And I think my mind just works very much, you know, systematically from some of my legal training. So processes are definitely something that are very important to me. And so, you know, it entails thinking of all the aspects of making sure that we have the suppliers set up correctly, you know, that we have email and phones and, you know, in the beginning. And now I do a lot more marketing actually, and thinking of, you know, how can we get our name recognition out there, and making sure that we're prepared in the event that we have customers, and how to process the actual orders. So it's a lot of thinking through, I guess, again, backstage pass to all aspects of the business.
Yeah, especially where contracts and distribution
Absolutely.
is concerned, certainly. And I mean, what do you find your major challenges for running the business? I mean, do you both you and Brian both get involved in the actual operations as well? Because you're the chief financial officer.
Yeah, there's a, you know, with most small businesses, you always have a lot of challenges. You know, not enough time, not enough resources. I know for us, you know, we're fortunate that between the four of us, we actually have a lot of the major skill sets that a business needs already.
We certainly do.
Yeah, so we're fortunate in having a lot of that training here. We could use a little more marketing skills. I'm not so great with Photoshop and some of the artistic things, you know. But so we could use a little more help there. But there's always challenges, and you know, making sure that we're responding to things on time. You know, making sure that things move quickly when you're in a small business in a sales environment, and we want to make sure that we are paying attention to details.
Now, I know that you had a major launch in 2010, probably in Houston, I believe. Was it because you were in business school that it had something to do with the relaunch of the company? Because you were named something else when you first started.
Sure. Yeah, so I guess we could start with that, where we was originally called Winifred Skincare. And then the funny story of how the name changed is I was giving a presentation. It was a class in my business school at the time, and we gave our presentation. And you know, at the end of the presentation, I was like, "Are there any questions from my classmates?" And one girl raises her hand. She's like, "Yeah, I have one question." I was like, "Yeah, what's the question?" I was like, "Okay, so your mom is Winnie. So who's Fred?" I was like, "Well, I guess there is no Fred."
This was a business student?
This was a business student, yes. So we went back and we did a couple of focus groups. We talked to some of the other professors on campus, and we came, you know, we did with the focus group, we came up with Maylan Skincare, which is, as my mom said before, is the merging of two Chinese words.
Interesting, which again means natural
beauty.
Yes.
So that was the beginning of the relaunch. But back in 2010, as you were mentioning, that's when, you know, both my brother and myself, we decided that if this company is going to go somewhere, now is the time. My dad was retiring from his career. My mom still had a lot of energy. So this, you know, it was pretty much a now or never type of decision, and we decided now is the time.
And I mean, what with the relaunch, why Houston? What were you? Did you do a relaunch in Houston, Texas? I mean, I've heard a lot of, or seen a lot of press about your spokesperson. No, she's in Chicago, Nancy Liu.
In Chicago, yes.
But I mean, how did you happen to?
So I could actually touch on that.
Yeah.
You know, like with any small business, and you know, with much of life, actually, it's about just, you know, talking to people. It's a lot of networking. You know, so basically, you know, it was at that time I reached out to a lot of my friends telling them about our company, launching, and ask, I know a lot of people that have progressed in their careers where they know a lot of other important people. And I said, can you introduce me to people? And one of my friends who's from Houston says, I have this person, Emily, that, she knows everybody in Houston, so let me introduce you to Emily. And then Emily introduced me to like 5 other people there, and those 5 people, introduced us to a magazine editor actually at the time, and also
and you
to a
got
boutique.
some rave reviews as a result of that, which is just wonderful. And I mean, this seems like really a kind of almost a dumb question. Did anybody write a business plan to get this company started? I mean, you probably came closest to it, Brian.
We did.
We
actually wrote a business plan while I was in business school. But I was talking to Allan the other day because we constantly, essentially rewrite it, and it's amazing how far we've come in the last 6 years. I graduated about 6 years ago, and we update it probably every year or every 2 years. And whenever we go through it, we're like, we have made a lot of progress, especially since 2010.
Yeah, you've made a lot of changes as well.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just amazing. Well, I mean, one of the most important things about any business and running any business is how do you market yourselves? How do you get your product out to the public? Do you only sell and distribute your product through the internet, or are you in stores, or do you sell it? Do you have an infomercial?
No infomercial. But
are you thinking about doing one?
I would say there are a lot of things that are still on the table. But I guess to answer your original question, we originally started online, but because of a lot of the efforts that Allan did with getting a lot of publicity in the Houston area, we were able to, one of the retailer in the Houston area decided to carry our product. And then several years later, then my mom was able to talk to a pharmacy owner in the Chicago area to carry our product as well.
Now, the product has done wonders, obviously, for you, for your skin. And is it for all skin colors, skin types? I mean, is it a product that I would use that would work on my skin for the color and the complexion?
Yes, because if you give me a chance, I will practice on you so you
Let's
will
do
know. Okay. Okay, before we do that, this is the logo, and when the school in the canal, they pick this one. It's a tree, and then water, and then this the logo. So Allan didn't like it, so we have this in the mix, so Allan just
Nothing
changed.
like a family business.
So this is the one we already do this, has silk screen this thing, so but Allan didn't like it, so we repackaged it. So this is just let you know, this is the old logo. So the reason people will ask me, what's the difference between your product and the product? Because the skincare product is saturated on the market. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, so what makes yours different than the other? So the product about our product is our cleanser has no alcohol and no soap.
Which alcohol, I always am amazed when I see alcohol in a lotion or a moisturizer, because alcohol dries your skin, for heaven's sakes. Why would someone put it into a product unless they want, to get you to use more of the product?
Because,
Really?
Because they clean, so they think they can clean it. But the uniqueness of our product is the cleanser do not have the alcohol and do not have the soap, so you do not need it to wash it, after you clean it.
Oh, that feels nice.
So you just relax, and then you will feel. See this one.
I think we need some music too.
So you will relax. So see our cleanser. You can see. You can.
I don't want to look at the bottom of that. I hope it isn't.
It is. Do you know why? Because people always say they have dirty skin. No, because this is how good our product is. You can clean
and
it.
also, too, you're removing dead cells, correct?
Yes, and then clean all because it's very important to have your skin clean, so you apply the good stuff so they will penetrate to your skin to nurture your cells instead only the skin.
Oh, that's wonderful. It feels great.
Okay, so you can see these two hands.
Oh, I get...
Right? this is a cleanser, so it didn't dry your skin, it's moist your skin. So we take all these dirt out. So I'm going to do this one too. So this one, so you
both
can.
hands are clean.
Both hands. I'm going to test two products on you. So see, this is how different our product than the products on the market because don't have alcohol and salt.
Oh, it just feels wonderful. Just wonderful.
So-
Thank you so much. Now, for the now that's just the lotion.
Just the cleanser. So the lotion,
The lotion
the cream is on the other side. Yes.
Well, you're not going to believe this, but we're closing in on our time.
Okay.
And there's just so much more that I want to ask you about. I mean, you have 3 men in your lives. Is this product for men as well?
Yes.
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 Even though originally I developed the formula for my wife, but we bear in mind it is the product is good for men as well because it's not the formula say this only for men. Yes, most of the product on the market because they put some masculine type of fragrance in the formula, but because we target people with sensitive skin, so our thing is very mild and very pleasant.
Right. Well, also, too, men are becoming much more aware of themselves and skincare, and they're becoming vain like we are.
Actually, as part of some of the research we've done, men are actually one of the faster growing sub-markets within the skincare business.
That's excellent. Well, before, I mean, we're as I said, we're closing in on time, and we just have a few minutes left. So I want to certainly thank all of you for being here. And I mean, this has been such a wonderful experience, and I have nice, clean hands now. They feel very soft as well. And I want to thank you, Winnie, for being here,
You're
and
welcome.
Allan, and Dr. Chan. I'm so
and
glad
Ray.
you joined us.
Thank you for inviting us.
Yes, and Brian. And I also want to thank our director, Ed, my son, for directing the show, and for our crew. And a very, very special thanks to Rich of Manhattan Neighborhood Network for making this show possible. You've been watching Minding Your Business, a show for really unique and interesting entrepreneurs. And I'm your host, June Middleton. Please see yourself where you want to be. You can't start up a business with no business plan. Which we'll have to talk about that a little bit more. But now you have a website, MaylanSkincare.com.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, terrific. So if people want to find out about your products, they can just go to your website of Maylan Skincare.com. That's terrific. And so tell us, what are your plans for distribution?